And this book's pretty awesome. This is not just one page. This is just, I'm making one right now, actually, in my house. I'm going to cover it digitally so you guys know what it actually is all inside of it. You guys might already have your own version of it. Again, I appreciate you guys coming in. So we're going to start diving into how we talk about it, what's inside of it, and go from there. So what these things are, obviously, it's more sales tools that we use inside the house that help provide a lot more value and a lot more understanding as to what we're actually doing on these calls. We have, we talk about a lot of the stuff on the types of calls that we set up. So when we have things like our, our campaigns for mailers that go out, you guys are using the mailing campaigns, right? Those tune-ups flyers, those talk about certifying the system and have a 90-day breakdown guarantee, right? These books inside of there double down on that, talk about the certification process, what's included, how that actual program works. So it really ties into some of the marketing features that people are calling us on. Same thing with RP1. We talk about the processes that we run inside of the house and the 26-point AC inspection or the 31-point furnace inspection, whatever it is, right? However you guys structure your calls, the checklists, the certification stuff, all of that stuff is going to be inside of a folder or basically a book that we have for the homeowners. It's going to have like stuff from the homeowners. I'm also going to share like actual digital version of it right now, so we can walk through it together. Anyways, for us, it's really important and impactful when we can build value, but also give visuals, physical items to the homeowner. So let me walk you guys through how we explain it as a technician at the door, and then I'll walk through the entire book. Then we'll do a quick little presentation at the end of the call to show you guys how we actually utilize it. So it'd be a good training if you're a technician. It'll be a even better training if you're trying to get it in, if you're trying to make the book, I guess, for yourself. So share my screen and pull it up. I'm going to share, I have a few different versions of the book as far as like things that are included, but let me share my screen with the one that I'm printing off this week. So again, you'll notice it's about 21 pages. Typically I have that front page made a little bit bigger so it goes to the edge, and then I have it cut down to size. Usually I have to print on like 11 by 17 and then have the edges bled and cut to that. So just know that every page after this can be printed on normal paper, but the first page I want it to be basically printed to the edge as much as possible. All right, so how we introduce this at the front door is, hey, Mrs. Smith, obviously you set your expectations and you talk about it, and then one of the things that you bring up is this tech book. You go, hey, we're also going to be covering this, we call this our upfront pricing guide. So if you have any questions, we're very transparent. All of our pricing for repairs are actually inside of here. So if you guys have any questions on that, I just want to let you know, feel free to educate yourselves while I'm on the call. I'm going to put this at your kitchen table, and we'll kind of cover this in detail later on in the call, okay? And it's just an upfront, we call this an upfront pricing guide when it's the customer facing side of things, okay? Now keep in mind, it also has things about our business too, like who we are, what we kind of specialize in, what a certified system looks like. So you could even mention some of those items as well. It also has some of our guarantees and our promises and stuff, and a lot of information on memberships and maintenance, which is great. So we introduce this at the front of the house. Some people use this as an anchor point to get to the table. If you have technicians that are having a hard time like presenting options at the table and they're doing it in the hallway or they're sending email estimates, I say screw that. Tell them up front, hey, you have to put this at the kitchen table before you guys get started. Use that as an anchor point at the very least. And then later on in the call, they have to go back to it, which is kind of the goal. Jobs for us get done at the table. We don't sell jobs in hallways and doorways and at the truck or online. We basically same day system and repair sales is how we make our living. So, all right. First page again, bright and beautiful. It could be like a part of your community that's very well known. Like if you're in a community that that have really great water fountains, like bring that type of stuff into the fold. I just thought this popped very well. We also have uniforms and doormats that match this book, so that's why I have this exact color scheme. I love it. It pops when people see it. You can also make it family friendly if you want to put people on there, or again, places in your community or landmarks. By all means. So first page is a message from the owner. So it should be like a thank you for choosing us, but also it's a satisfaction guarantee. So your technicians should be talking about these things. I had a technician training today, and they said, yeah, we usually jump to the stuff on memberships, or we jump to the certification, or we jump to the pricing side of it. Don't jump stuff on this book, all right? Train on every page. Have your guys walk through every page, even if it's briefly. Just say, hey, look, this is just a message from the owner. He just wants to say that you guys are going to have a full satisfaction guarantee. That means if anything is weird, we're going to make sure we take care of it or it's free. Okay. That's our actual guarantee. He really does live by that. And then move on to the next page. If they want to read it, then give them time to read it. Okay. Family photos work well here too. Could be, a team photo. It doesn't have to be just you. Next page, we'll walk them through. This is, again, how to get to this point is when we get to the table, before we go over options, before we go over drawings of systems, we'll say, hey, let me go through this book really fast to show you what that upfront pricing guide really kind of is. There's some great benefits to doing business with us. Let me kind of show you what those look like. Okay. And then I start walking them through this book, okay, at the table, one of the first things that we'll do. Okay. And they might have even sifted through it while you guys were on the call. Could you tell them, hey, look, go ahead and sift through everything in there you guys can educate yourselves on. Not a big deal. So hopefully you find something that's, that you guys like. This is our promise. This is a great page to lean in on. How many homeowners, when you guys approach them and kind of go and service them, they're expecting you to come in as like a sales guy in their house, right? And they're expecting you to just bring them problems and you guys sell them shit. Does that happen ever? Or does anybody ever feel like that? I'm sure there are people that feel that way. That's why I think it's important to mention early and upfront, hey, look, this is who we are and how we do business. Our promise and our focus is primarily on maintenance. That's why we always say, like, we're basically a maintenance and service-based company. These are some of the guarantees. We're going to be 100% satisfied with the tune-up as well. It's also going to help your system out. That's one of our guarantees. That's actually what I like to do. I'm a nuts and bolts guy. Obviously, we do a lot of repairs. We probably do more repairs than anybody in our market, just because we actually believe in them, right? And when the time is right for replacement, guess what? We also have those types of things as well. First year of your new equipment installation, if you're not completely satisfied, we'll go ahead and pull the thing out and give you all your money back. It's not a big deal for us, but we only make those recommendations when we truly believe in them. Does that make sense? A lot of companies kind of get by and they just try to sell you a new system. We really want to make sure that we can show you what repairs and maintenance actually can do for your system long term as well. Just that little word track talking about how we actually care about service and maintenance. We're not just a sales company that comes in and tries to sell you a new system. They are going to latch on to you because of that. They love that in comparison to just sending out some sales guy. We might have all experienced that at some point in our lives. So this next part I love because it talks about why we do things the way we do them. This talks about how just proper maintenance of a system really can help it out long term. This is one of the shows that we talked about. It's This Old House with Don Best, right? And what he talked about is just the proper maintenance can save you guys a lot of money on maintenance, a lot of money on your future costs of your system to operate, whether it's efficiency or future repairs. A simple maintenance can save you guys up to $2,000 across the life of the expectancy of the system just by maintaining it properly. Okay. Again, you can slow it down and make it simple, but bring this page up, talk about maintenance, and then talk about the certifications. When you guys called us, we talked about maybe a certification program that we're offering right now. It's actually going to be what I want to show you what that looks like. These two pages are on the same opening of the book. So if it's the AC side, then you're talking on the AC side of it, what that looks like. If it's the furnace side, therefore, then talk about the furnace side. So you have a left page and a right page. I bring them up, walk them through it. So what it means to have your system certified for us is really important. Obviously, it's going to be a 90-day breakdown guarantee. This is what we're going to be including to make sure it is certified. We're going to inspect the fan blades for balance. We're going to take a look at the duct and supplies. We're going to take a look at everything. All the things I showed you on today's call was all in preparation for getting this thing certified the right way. These are some of the things that I'm actually going to clean. If you guys have a filter, we replace those obviously, or wash the ones that you have existing. But we're also going to do flush and treat the condensate drain. We're going to do an outdoor condenser, including waxing of that compressor as well. We're going to test and tighten all these things, the things that I showed you on that earlier when I had you outside. This is all included as well. And you probably some of these kind of sound familiar to you already, right? So if everything checks out as green or above, that you guys are going to get that 90-day breakdown guarantee, and anything that's not covered, anything that's not that happens in the next 90 days is, guess what? It's going to be covered by us 100%. So we're going to come back and do that repair for free. Okay. But if your system is missing anything as far as to be certified, we're going to recommend the things that are going to get it to be certified. Does that make sense? Okay, great. A lot of people have been taking advantage of our memberships lately. There's a big reason why. It's because of how many benefits that we actually have and how it helps you guys out. So because when you guys are a member with us, you actually get that full 90 days. For non-members, it's going to be a 30-day breakdown guarantee. So part of that is actually included with the membership. But the biggest thing I liked about the membership is that you guys get priority service. So when you guys call us in the middle of summertime and something breaks down, we're going to be able to come out to your house within 24 hours. That's one of our guarantees. But also, we're going to put, oh my God, Kayla, your daughter came in and she scared me because I thought she was behind me. I was like, oh, I was like, hold on, someone's coming in my room. Not my wife. All right. We have that policy of priority service. Basically, when you guys call us, you're going to have a front of the line pass. If any non-members call us in the middle of summer and you guys call us, we're going to put you guys always in front of them. Okay. That's just how we prioritize people that have already spent money with us. We don't put, new money in front of, our current client database. And that's just how we kind of do business. We want to make sure that people that have spent good money with us are taken care of first and foremost. Let's see, some of the other benefits that I like include, and talk about what those benefits are. Like, talk about some guys talk about the discount. I don't like the discount as much because it doesn't really sell off of value. It sells off of saving them money, which is fine. But my big thing is look, we're gonna come out here every year and do the same service on your furnace as well. So everything I was doing today, get it cleaned and brought back to factory fresh condition, is going to be repeated in 6 months, and have us come back out for the furnace side and get the burner manifold cleaned out properly as well. Again, you're going to see improved efficiency on the heating side as well. So that's one of my favorite things is just the ability to do that. Keep in mind, the entire membership is actually free. What I mean by that is that we have a policy that lets you guys use 100% of the membership towards a new system, replacement when you guys need it. So what that means is that if you guys spend, $200 on membership over the next 5 years, every year, you guys will have $1,000 as a down payment. So that money doesn't really go anywhere but back into your pocket when you guys are ready to replace the existing system. That's a great benefit. Right? Those are all perks and stuff doing business with us. Again, there's a lot more benefits on here as well. We have attic and crawl space inspections. Talk about I know you guys don't go in your attic every year and really inspect things thoroughly. So we're going to do that every year for you and give you a full report and analysis of what's going on. And if there's things that we could do to improve it, we're obviously going to recommend them as well. The plan is fully transferable. It's another great benefit, right? You guys got to talk about hey, we're moving next year. Well, if you're moving next year, great. If you're moving into our service area, your plan can actually come with you. If you guys are actually moving out of the service area, you can actually leave the plan for the existing homeowner to take over. You can even prepay for it, but that's going to keep all the warranties and stuff intact as well, because we do have a lifetime parts warranty as long as you guys remain a member. So everything that when you guys are a member with us and you guys perform a repair, you're going to have a lifetime warranty in that repair as long as you guys remain uninterrupted on the services. So they have the ability to take over that lifetime warranty and all the repairs that you guys performed, as long as they stay on the membership. So all that value just keeps adding up over time as well. All right, any questions so far, guys? I know I'm talking fast. It's a lot to go over, and I had some coffee before this, so. All right. The next 2 pages are really going to be kind of cool because it talks about the pricing and stuff. This is our upfront pricing guide. Like I mentioned, all our prices on paper. We don't change the price in the back end, expecting you guys to pay more because this and that. We're very transparent and open with our pricing. We also charge a fair price. A lot of people say that we're not the most expensive. We're definitely not the cheapest. We're somewhere in the middle where a lot of people actually want to do business, and we'll do the whole prayer left and right hands and make it prayer hands. And that's what I honestly believe. Most contractors, they don't charge the right price initially, and they usually fail within the first few years because they're not able to service the system when it does need help in 3 or 4 or 5 years because they didn't charge enough money to actually, basically cover the liability of those parts. So for us, it's a one and done solution. You guys pay for it once, you guys stay in the membership, it's covered for life. So that's why our prices are where they're at. They're not going to be the cheapest. But just know that you have peace of mind. You guys ever call us, we're not going to nickel and dime you for more parts every year. A lot of companies do business that way, where they're expecting you to call them every 6 months because putting on a base level repair, basic part, but they expect you to pay them $300-500 every time you guys call them out. We don't believe in the whole nickel and dime system. That's not how we do things. We look at the actual solutions, the actual problems, and solve them with real solutions. Okay, so don't have to worry about where your money goes after the fact. Keep in mind, if you guys do decide to move forward with the repair and decide within the next 6 to 12 months, depending on the size of the repair, that you guys want to move into a new system, you guys can actually sometimes use the repair costs that you guys spent with us towards a new system. So there's always a time limit to those, and it kind of depends on the level of your investment. But those are all things that we have in place that helps you guys make a decision and maybe even push that decision on to the next day or next week, which is fine. But just know that you can utilize that as a benefit as well. These are things that we added, and you guys can actually add your own stuff to the books that help you guys make the book a little bit more robust, but also talks about things that you guys want to start selling or talk about, or anything that you feel like your team isn't talking enough about. Make it a page in the book. Make it a force of habit that they have to go through with the homeowner to at least bring it up. You miss 100% of the shots you guys don't take. So if you guys think that surge protection on a new system can help them, bring it up and talk about it. Have your guys talk about it. Hey, just want to let you know, while we're here today, we're offering surge protection. This is one of the biggest things I think can help extend the life of a lot of systems, especially where I live out here in Texas, where we have a lot of monsoons and electrical storms, like the one that we just had recently, where a lot of systems on the outdoor unit actually had issues because they weren't protected. And once you get that power surge in your system, guess what? That can cause potential damage to compressor components, boards, and stuff like that as well. These are all things that can be prevented as well. Right. If you guys have solar, you guys are switching from the use inside of, from personal use to city use, and you're going back and forth depending on how much you guys are paying for your electrical bills. You guys, that can also cause electrical surges, and that's why we highly recommend putting surge protection on those types of systems as well, which we have those available. Today's offer, we're actually offering $100 off while we're in the home on those types of services. Right, you could do a similar page on insulation if that's what you guys want to offer. Talk about the word tracks on that, but this book really does the work for your technicians. All they have to do is follow it, and it kind of goes down the path for them, and they have to have the conversations about it. Again, Texas, we don't do insulation. You have to have like a separate license for it, I think, or maybe that's Arizona. But other shops, we can obviously offer it. So. This is great for the heating season right now. Obviously, we're not in this mode, but we definitely bring these pages up. So like when we're inspecting the heat exchangers, this is kind of what we look for. We also use what's called like a manual. It's what is it? The experts heat exchanger experts manual, which is basically like the gas-fired furnace. FBI's most wanted, right? It's a case study of all the systems that are gas-fired systems that have issues over time, and where to find those issues. And it basically helps our technicians identify what system they're working on, how to inspect it properly, and then obviously the failure points to look for, right? The things to kind of really check on in these systems, like where do they fail? This goes in tandem with that too. So if you're in the house and you bring these things up, say, hey, look, these are some of the things that we're looking for, obviously, to make sure that this thing is safe. Right. This is like a case study book that shows us this type of system. You happen to have a 2005 Rheem. This is how or where to inspect in that system. You pull that book up, you show them the inspection points. They either pass or fail. Good to go. This is awesome, right? Or this is, hey, this thing's already failing, and this is why. Right. When we find a cracked exchanger, these are the things that you can do. Obviously, you can leave it as is. It's not an option. It's not really recommended by the American Gas Association. Things like that have to be red tagged for improper use, so we can't. So we're covered as a business. So basically, put it out of operation, but you can continue using the blower motor if you want. We're going to replace the firebox, meaning just pull out the existing exchanger and swap it out for one. But keep in mind, this thing is 25 years old. It's really hard to find, that exchanger. But if I could find it on the market, I will. Right. The other option is just replacing the furnace, meaning bringing it back up to code. But also, even my most basic furnace nowadays is going to be a major upgrade from what this thing is. So it's really not even replacing. It's more of an upgrading what you currently have, even if it was a baseline model. But there's some great systems out there nowadays. They don't have single stage motors, or they have variable speed motors with ramp up and ramp down based on the needs of the house. It saves you guys a lot of money. It's a lot quieter, a lot more efficient, and just walk into a cool, comfortable house. It's a kind of a different feeling than walking into like a room where that one room might be cooler than the other. It's just one of those things where it definitely helps you guys out in the long run. Again, bring it up and talk about it. That's the whole plan of this thing. If you guys don't talk about it, they have no opportunity to win. Again, why do furnaces fail? Well, honestly, there's just like everything else. Time is the ultimate, and it does wear down over time. So if you constantly heat metal up heat it up and it expands, then it cools down and contracts. And over time, what happens, right? It's like a safety pin bending back and forth. You keep bending that metal, eventually it's going to crack. And that's what we're kind of seeing with exchangers over time that weren't built to be properly, sized for the home, or had airflow issues. Maybe they were overheating. And those are things that happen just naturally, but also it could be prevented with a proper design of a heat exchanger, but also how it's installed. And, obviously the ductwork and all the thing that kind of leads into how this thing breathes and lives long term. Maintenance can also be a determining factor as well, because if you can identify it sooner, you can prevent it from happening and causing future issues. Again, you can even have the homeowner read through this while you're talking. One thing I love showing people is like how ductwork can really kind of affect your home. We call this like the highway of your system. The system itself is like, imagine if it's just a car, right? You could have a nice car or a cheap car. If you're on a bad road, you're going to feel it. You're going to notice how it's not going to operate properly. So with us, we talk about, my biggest thing is I'm actually one of the duct specialists here. This is what I love to kind of talk about, because I think the highway that travels the air from point A to point B is the most important piece of this thing. Keep in mind, this is probably going to be in tandem with this page right here. So you'll have this to the right and this to the left. And so they'll actually see these together. So some of the things to kind of look for, and this is why we always do inspections every year, because some things can change over time. You might notice, that different types of ducts, like fiberglass ducts or even flex ductwork, these are all things that we could actually, identify sooner and hopefully solve major issues from happening in the future, right? Like breathing problems, poor airflow issues, systems that are, not properly running because of those items. And this is a great visual to kind of show you. There's something here I wanted to show you as well. It's like this black ring on this insulation. I'm not sure if you've ever seen this before, but this is actually it's called the Venturi effect. And what it's doing is you have high pressurized air moving across this inside of this ductwork. And because there's a seal that's not, or there's a leak right here, it's actually not sealed properly. Instead of pushing air from the inside out, it's actually doing the opposite. It's actually acting like a vacuum, pulling all that dirty attic air into it. It's actually causing it to act as a secondary filter. So this insulation here, which is made of fiberglass and formaldehyde, is literally being drawn into your system as well as all the dirt, dust, debris that it can't stop. So that's what happens when you have small cracks and leaks like this on systems. You'll start noticing these types of rings forming. We call that the Venturi effect, and you're actually breathing in attic air over time. And this is all pass or filter. So your ductwork is going to become infiltrated and dirty, but the air that you guys are breathing is going to circulate all the attic air, as well as the insulation, fiberglass, formaldehyde, things that you guys shouldn't be breathing in long term. Okay, that's why I wear a respirator in every attic, because of those things. Those things do exist. But if you're breathing inside your home, then there's probably some risk that you guys are running into. You might notice allergies certain times of years when you guys use this system, or even the worst, you guys might get sick more often than you probably should. So these are all things that can be prevented just through obviously maintenance and finding them, but also correcting the issues once you do find them. Okay, this is actually how we install ductwork. So for us, we actually have an inner sleeve. It's actually a polyurethane liner. It's going to be not going to off gas with BPAs when it gets hot. It's actually going to be super strong over time. It has a metal steel ring inside of it. That's going to go over a metal boot or a metal start collar. Every connection is going to then be hit with a industrial strength zip tie, basically we call this like a conduit strap, excuse me. Then we're going to have it hit with the actual duct tape that's designed for ducts. It's actually a silver metal tape that has a super high tensile strength. Okay. Once that's done, we're going to go ahead and hit it with what's called a rubberized mastic sealant. Also, it's fiber based. It creates an air and watertight seal around every connection joint. So there's no potential for the Venturi effect to occur. Okay. Once that's done, we're going to go ahead and actually hit it with another conduit strap, and then cover it with this outer liner and insulation. So the insulation that we use nowadays, it's an R8 insulator. That's one of the highest qualities. It's about 25% more insulation than the previous predecessor that changed last year for us in this state. So every system that we install is going to have better insulation nowadays. It's also going to be then covered with a Mylar sleeve. If you ever been to a birthday party, you saw those metal balloons, those foil big old balloons that are like silver. That's actually Mylar material, similar to what this thing is. It's a radiant barrier. So it's going to reflect all the heat. It's the same stuff they cover the space shuttles in when they launch them into orbit to help reflect heat off of the heat shield. It's also going to be perforated. So that means it has tiny little holes in it. What that does is it makes sure that none of the moisture can be trapped inside of it. So it doesn't create like a moisture barrier. And what that means is that the system can breathe properly. So if you have moisture sitting on something for a long period of time, you can have potential for bacterial growth happening. We just don't believe that should be there. So we obviously use a higher quality duct because of it. And that's what the perforation and breathability does on the outside of the duct as well. On top of that, you also have formaldehyde-free insulation. It is still fiberglass. It's just spun a little differently to where it's not going to be itchy, scratchy feeling. It's one of the higher quality ones that we have in the market. So those are pretty awesome. With all that, then we also put manual control dampers on every single duct. It's basically like a big door, like a disc. We can open and close it to allow for more or less airflow out of every single run inside your house. So you have total control. So if little Billy's room is hot in the summertime, you guys can open up that one or damper down some of the cooler rooms and push air more to his back room. Or if he leaves for college after a few years and you guys don't want to use that room as much, you guys can actually damper it down and push that airflow into somewhere else inside the house. Some people think that you could just close the vent, but when you close the vent, all that air doesn't really go back into the system. It just kind of stays static inside of that duct run. If I close it at the base of the duct, I can actually push that pressure to somewhere else inside of the house. We also design ducts that are slightly oversized. So when you move that pressure from one room to another room, you're not adding in pressure to the actual motors. Okay, so there's some things that we do that are a little bit different and a little bit more proprietary to how we do business, which is a little bit more custom homes. Obviously, more control of comfort inside your house, but just overall, it's going to have your system last longer without adding undue stress to motors and stuff. Next, there's only a few pages left, so not to worry. One of the things that I actually noticed about us, Mrs. Smith, is that we're a little bit different. Every one of us, it comes into your house, you're going to be background checked, drug tested, and obviously, we're trained and certified to work on your systems that we're actually touching. So we go through 150 hours of annual training internally, as well as all of these things to make sure that you guys are comfortable with someone that's inside your home. We also have a Happy Tech guarantee, meaning that every person inside your house is going to be paid well enough and happy to work for us. We don't do side jobs. We're actually taken care of very well here. And it's one of the great benefits to working with A1 or working with Air Outlook is the fact how they treat us, and it's because of people like you that makes it possible. So thank you. Now this is where we kind of finalize a lot of this stuff, and I would probably at this point stop going through the book and then come back to it later on. The reason why is because we have this thing called a true cost of ownership. We're actually going to cover this when we go over their repairs with them after this fact. So you can bring it up and say, hey, look, this is actually what we call true cost of ownership. So if you guys go over repairs, we can actually go over this as well to see what it looks like long term for you guys, and if the repair makes sense, right, versus what a new system would look like. And this page is partnered with this page right here, so they're actually side by side. And then the back page, or the final page, depending on how you guys set it up, would be our peace of mind guarantees. These are all things that we cover when we talk about full system replacement, but there's also more of them on here as well. These are just the ones we kind of have the technicians initially talk about. And then there's actually a few more, but for this purpose, it's perfect because it's brief, it's just, and they can kind of get the idea behind it. Again, I don't usually cover it until I cover what the full system replacement looks like, but again, you can talk about it. Hey, like I mentioned, we have that totally happy guarantee, 100% satisfaction. We even have a temperature selection guarantee, meaning that if you go with a gold system or above, which is a modulating furnace or above, and on top of getting ductwork, we can actually get every single room inside your house within 1 degree of each other. And that's actually a guarantee that we'll have. The workmanship guarantee was talking about how we have our technicians are drug tested, background checked, and actually certified to work on your system to make sure everyone that enters your house is properly equipped and ready. We even have a no lemon guarantee. So the no lemon guarantee means that if your system components, if components can keep breaking down within twice within the first 5 years, we're going to go ahead and replace that component. And if it happens again, we're going to go ahead and remove and replace the system. This guarantees that you guys don't have a lemon, but you guys have understand that this sometimes it's just the one that we pull out of the box that it happens to. It's about 1 in 1,000 chance of that happening. Nothing's perfect, but at the same time, know that we actually have that in place to protect you guys. We have great relationships with our manufacturers. If we find issues, they usually are the first ones to jump and fix it for us. And if we can't, we'll get a new system in here right away. We even have a fix it or hotel guarantee or a comfort guarantee, meaning that if we can't fix it within 24 hours and you guys do move forward with a new system with us, we're going to go ahead and put you guys up either in a hotel or get you guys comfortable in your house by putting in some portable units until we can get the part in. Usually, if it's that worst case scenario, we're usually waiting for a part. Lowest price guaranteed basically means that we're going to have the lowest price across the board. We already know that because we don't price ourselves to be too crazy anyways. But with all the guarantees and everything else that we kind of put in place, know that we're not going to be the cheapest, right? So if you have somebody who's doing, who's trying to compare like work to us, we can beat their price, but they have to also match everything on all the quality that we're providing as well. So they have to have certified technicians. They have to have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and everywhere else that we are as well. They have to do things the right way, kind of, not just try to beat you up with the cheapest price. Does that make sense? And if they're doing all those things like pulling permits and everything else, then we're very confident that we can beat their prices. Okay, like these are all things we talk about. The better than we found a guarantee. We have a technician that enters your house and leaves a mess. We're going to send out a professional cleaning crew to take care of your entire house, not just that mess that they occurred into. We want to say like we treat your house like it was our own. Things like that are no go for us. So we just want to make sure that you guys feel comfortable and take care of it. Okay. Like, and my favorite one, which is actually like the last one, is called the no change order guarantee. And what that actually entails is that, a lot of contractors will come in with a price that like is really low and like thousands of dollars off of us. And a lot of homeowners will kind of bite on those things. But if it's too good to be true, it usually is. And there's a reason why, right? They might start a job and you might start noticing that they're not doing things how you guys were expecting them to be done. They might have cheaped out on labor. They might be, not in technician uniforms, but maybe it's a different company altogether. It's doing the install, or they're not pulling permits, or they're not, they didn't do a thorough inspection on the actual system itself. And about halfway through the job, they kind of, you guys notice, or they stop and say, hey, we didn't know that this was part of this. This wasn't part of the bid. I need you guys to pay more money on this. And that's called a change order. And it happens all the time in our space, being in the contractors world. If you've seen like those flip or flop shows, that happens all the time. They find an issue on the job. They come back to the homeowner saying, hey, this is now going to increase the budget. Just want to let you guys know you want to go this route or that route. And often it just adds drama. So I call this like our no drama clause. So the price that you guys see today is the price that you guys pay. There's nothing extra added onto it later on. If we find an issue with like that happens and it changes the scope of the job, we're going to eat the cost of that as a business and probably take a loss on the job. That's our guarantee that we're willing to take. And that's why we train our guys so well, so we can be thorough and not miss those types of things. So if you're seeing that a price difference that's really astronomical, there's usually because we found things that they didn't see, or we're doing things a little bit differently, like actually, replacing components that should be replaced instead of using old parts, or, those are just headaches that you guys don't want to have. And if you guys want a drama-free experience, we're your company. We're going to stand behind all our guarantees and warranties as well. We even have extended warranty options and plans to keep the system maintained for the whole longevity that you guys plan on using it for as well, right? So anyways, you get the idea behind it. That's how we kind of talk about this book. It's a great piece that we bring up. The next part is, how do we make these books? Obviously, this is a Canva document. If you're on the Blueprint, you have this. You probably already have a version of it that you're making. If you need help and services like that, my team can obviously help you make the book. Those are all things that we do every day as part of this. We even have a template where if you just want the template, that's fine too. There's a cost associated with everything though, just like life. So we're happy to help design it for you, make it your own, give you recommendations. But to make the book, I always have, like I mentioned, I try to use local print shops as much as possible. However, I do use things like Office Depot and Staples and stuff like that all the time. I think it's important to kind of, use someone local though, because then you build a rapport with them. They understand your book. The bigger shops, they have like new employees all the time. They don't really know how to make it every time. Like sometimes you make a book at Office Depot and then you pick it up and it looks great. And the next time you order the same book, same parameters, and someone else made it and it looks a little bit different. And that's why I think a local shop is always great. I can have them print the same way, use the same printer, the same ink, the same person on it. You know what I mean? It's very, it starts becoming faster. Once they understand what you're actually doing, it becomes that much easier. So how I print these, usually on a medium weight, heavy heavy paper or a medium weight cardstock, is typically how I do it. So usually like something over 80 pounds, was a paper term. The front page, I have it printed and bled, and then they cut off the bleed. So the front page is the only page that's prints differently. Everything else is 8.5 by 11, typical, was that letter size, I guess. But this one right here is like, again, printed on a bigger page, and then it's cut down to size. That's where some shops only have the capabilities of printing 8.5 by 11, or they can't print to the edge. Print to a bigger piece of paper, then have it cut down to meet the edge. Anyways, and then I like to laminate them. I actually have to re-laminate some of the prints we had done because when they laminate them themselves, they were off by a lot. That's why I'm having a problem right here. So this is a quality control issue, right? The page should have been centered on the pouch laminate. I use pouch laminates, either 3M or 5M. This is a big gap, and this is a small gap.
Because I got to run around, and I just didn't want to.
2nd, Nathan, I got you. All right. So I like to center this before I run it through my laminator. I do have my own laminator that I run. This one was done by Office Depot. And that's why I like to use local people, because they're not going to have some kid that doesn't know how to laminate. I like to just do it myself. My wife even helps me out. And then binding them. I like to use a spiral binding maker, and spiral binding over the comb binding is just looks and feels better. It looks and feels more official. You could use a comb binder. It's easier to operate for sure. I've made books like both, but just my opinion on it, my 2 cents on it would be the comb binding just feels cheaper. It feels more like a school project. The spiral binding feels like a professional presentation. And that's why I bought that online. It costs $100 online. You can get a spiral binder. All it does is just a spiral. It just punches holes every, whatever, 2-3 millimeters or centimeters or whatever it is. It punches a hole every centimeter. And then it gives you has a little motor that spins, and it lets you, bind it very quickly. We can probably bind a book in like 30 seconds. I mean, it takes no time at all. I make 5 or 6 at a time, sometimes 10, depending on how big the shop is. And then I send them out to my guys. I always say, get them out faster, print them, get them used to using it. And then if you guys need to make edits and updates, it's really easy to make edits and updates later on, because now everyone's on the same page. We do these books pretty much every 6 months to every quarter, depending on the business and how often we're changing prices. This is just the technician book version, but I also have a sales presentation book version of it that we also make. And that's a great, again, customer facing document. It really talks a little bit about the business up front, and then it goes into all of our guarantees more in detail. And then at least it lets us have a deeper conversation on the guarantees. And then it goes into our pricing for full systems. If you guys want that book or that training, we can probably have another day where we kind of cover that. But right now we're doing a lot of stuff on the tech book side, as far as getting stuff for our guys, getting them prepared to use it, and then obviously training them on it as well. I have 2 trainings this week for 2 of my teams out in the country that are basically specializing in just that one specific topic. So is there any questions you guys have on these tech books? Either how to make them, what the costs are, if how much of a benefit they are for people. They definitely improve our communication as far as the technicians. I know that when they offer they use the tech book, they sell more memberships, 100%. They sell probably 20% more memberships when they offer it, when they actually use the tech book versus not using it. And I know that because I'm looking at the membership numbers, and the only thing I've changed is giving them these goddamn tech books. Told them to talk about it. I even have guys that flip straight to the memberships on the technician book because it's something physical that they can actually use. When you walk in with these, the homeowners there's an instant feeling you have when you hand them something that's nice like this. Oh my God, it separates you immediately from everybody else. So if you guys think that it's just for salesmen, think about this. There's a lot more technicians out there that are running calls that don't do stuff like this. I can almost guarantee you 99% of the contractors out there aren't doing this, right? They're not doing it. Even if they do have them, which is probably 5 or 10% of them, maybe, they're not doing it on every call because they're not training on every week or every month or whatever it is, right? So you guys definitely have an advantage to separate yourselves. And if you're trying to separate yourselves in your market and you're not the big guy, it's really easy to do that as a smaller shop. Come in with a really strong brand, come in with a really great presentation. We were doing this when it was me, Victor, and 2 other guys that were installers. That was it. And we had these things in place, and we came in feeling and looking like a bigger shop. The first job we ever sold was a 3-ton changeout. The guy had a 20-year-old Rheem. We put in a brand new Goodman. We charged $14,500 for that job. $14,500 is probably lower than most of your guys' average tickets right now, and that was 8 years ago, right? And that's our first job ever sold because we did things. We had uniforms, we had books. We made ourselves feel that we were bigger across the board. And that's the honest truth, is that when you look and feel and act like it, like you guys have all these tools at your expense, the homeowner 100% can feel comfortable with that. right? Like it's the comfortability of the homeowner. If we have things like this, it just adds an extra level of like trust and comfort. And that's kind of the ultimate goal with all this stuff. And most of you guys already do a lot of these guarantees, but by talking about them and bringing them up, you add value to it. Like most of you guys, I can ask you right now, do you have, and have you been on the blueprint for more than 6 months? You have these in place, I know, and you add value with them. But if you don't, right? Let's say you're a shop listening in this call, and you've been in business for 10 years, and if I was to ask you, hey, do you guys have a no change order guarantee in place? I said, I don't have that. But if I was to ask you, hey, if I was a homeowner and you guys sold me a job and you started the install, and something happened halfway through where we're now having to do more work on the job, but it's something that we actually missed, and we're just going to take care of it for you. You guys just naturally do those things already, anyways. Yeah, of course. Most of you guys say, yeah, obviously I don't want to cause an issue with the homeowner. If it was our mistake, we're just going to own it. And that's the thing that happens all the time, that we do these things already. We just don't get to talk about them and add value. So we put that no change order policy in place and say, look, if we mess up on how we inspect it and things come up during install, we're just going to own it. Now, if the homeowner comes to us and wants to change the scope of work because they want more things, that's different. That's not a install or not an inspection problem. That's them physically changing the scope of work and asking us to change the job. That's what, we're obviously going to charge for those types of things, but that's part of it. And then obviously having stories helps a lot too. Hey, we actually came into a job one time. We had a newer install helper. He spilled some oil from his vacuum on one of the pavers. That paver, it had been there for 10 years. And when you ruin the patina on one, it makes everything else look bad if you just replace the one. So we pulled up all the pavers on the side of the house. We actually replaced them all. So they actually had a brand new bricked in side yard because we actually messed up, and that's just owning our mistake. I mean, we're always going to make it right. If it makes sense for you guys, it makes sense for us too. I think it's just fair, right? That's what we're kind of striving to be. We're trying to be the most fair company out here, right? So these are things that you guys, our technicians, if they have a book, it can bring up some of those stories and some of those promises and how we kind of solve problems for a lot of homeowners. That's the real key. It's not about having bells and whistles. It's really about just having stories and actual conversations with people. So that's what I think it does for us. If you guys have any instances where you guys have been using the books and want to talk about how they've helped you, by all means, if you have any questions on it, I'm here to answer any questions.